You arrive in Athens in the middle of the 5th century BCE. The sky is cloudless. The sun hovers above the rocky Acropolis, warming the dusty white stones of the city. You are not a citizen. You are not a trader nor a guest. You are a slave, a douloi, newly purchased in the Agora, Athens' bustling public square. There is no ceremony to your arrival. No welcome, no introduction. Your new master, a minor artisan who crafts oil lamps from clay, paid for you with a few drachmas, and now you belong to him. You are not Athenian. You are not even Greek. You might be Thracian or Lydian or from the shores of Asia Minor. Your language is foreign. Your status, legally, is no different than a tool. But here, in this strange and gleaming city, tools can speak. Unlike in Sparta or elsewhere, Athenian slaves could sometimes, very rarely, participate in certain rituals or small business tasks. Yet even this illusion of proximity to freedom is exactly that, an illusion. Your life is now woven tightly into the fabric of a city that thrives on your silence, your labor, and your invisibility. The types of slaves in Athens. You soon learn that not all slaves in Athens are alike. The society that claims to value democracy above all things has created categories, some more bearable than others. There are household slaves, often considered the most fortunate by comparison. They cook, clean, run errands, and tend to the children of the household. They are sometimes allowed to sleep indoors. Sometimes, you are not among them. You are assigned to ergasteria, the small workshops scattered around the city. These are places of sweat and repetitive motion. You shape clay. You fire lamps. You do this all day under the hot Athenian sky or in the dark stone rooms where the kilns breathe smoke. Your fingers become cracked, your lungs sting. You are a craftsman by necessity, not choice. Then there are the mine slaves. You've heard of them, those sent to Laurion, where silver is extracted from the earth. The deepest pits of the Athenian system. Few return from those shafts with their bodies unbroken. Many do not return at all. And finally, there are public slaves owned not by individuals but by the city itself. They serve as police assistants. Athenian citizens wouldn't dirty themselves with such duties, clerks, and street sweepers. Some even assist in the courts. Public slaves wear a special cloak. They can move through the agora without direct supervision. It is a strange kind of visibility, one that says, you are useful but not free. You do not wear this cloak. Daily life, a rhythm of repetition. Your days are repetitive. You wake at dawn, not because of any clock, but because of habit and the low murmur of the city rising around you. Athens is a city of sound, the bleating of goats, the sharp clack of sandals against stone, the chants of merchants, and the constant gossip of politics echoing through the streets. You prepare clay. You shape lamps. You stack them carefully. The kiln master watches. He rarely speaks. You are fed twice a day. A small measure of barley porridge, sometimes beans, occasionally fish if your master's fortunes rise. Water is carried from a public fountain by a younger slave, one with faster legs and a quieter mouth. You are not beaten regularly, but the threat is never far. Athenian law permits it. In fact, it presumes you will lie if not under duress. In court, a slave's testimony is not valid unless extracted under torture. Justice and pain are considered synonymous for people like you. Still, there are occasional moments of quiet, moments when you stare out across the rooftops of Athens toward the gleaming white marble of the Parthenon. You wonder if those who walk freely under its columns ever think of you. Probably not. Relationships, language, and memory. Despite your status, you are not alone. In the dim back room of the workshop, other slaves rest with you. Some speak your tongue. Most do not. But over time, you begin to understand their gestures, their laughter, even their exhaustion. You hear stories. A young woman from Lydia whispers about her old village, the perfume gardens, the mountain wind. A Thracian boy speaks no Greek at all, but he hums a lullaby as he shapes clay. You learn it. You hum it too. Sometimes your master brings philosophers to the shop. They argue about virtue and the soul. One of them, a squat man with a strong voice and strange eyes, asks your master if you are content. Your master laughs. You do not speak. You shape another lamb. That philosopher's name is Socrates. He often speaks of freedom, but not the kind that matters to you. The law and the illusion of hope. Athenian law is both precise and indifferent. Slaves have no legal identity. You cannot marry, though some slaves form unions. You cannot own property, though some are allowed to save small coins in secret. You cannot testify in court unless tortured. You cannot choose your work. You cannot choose your master. You cannot choose. But there is a faint sliver of hope. Manumission. Some masters allow slaves to buy their freedom. Others promise freedom upon death. Some write it in wills. A few keep their promises. Many do not. You've heard of freedmen, metoikoi, who work as traders or scribes. They still pay taxes. They are not citizens, but they walk unchained. You wonder if this is enough to hope for. One day, your master's business struggles. He considers selling you to the Lorion mines. You do not sleep that night. You stare at the cracked ceiling and think of tunnels, darkness, and breathless earth. But he does not sell you. Not yet. The Festival of Dionysia. In spring, Athens erupts with celebration. The Festival of Dionysia. Theater, music, wine, masks. Citizens wear ivy crowns. Plays are performed in the Grand Theater below the Acropolis, tragedies that speak of fate, betrayal, and death. You are not allowed to attend, but you glimpse the processions from afar. Bright cloaks, painted faces, the laughter of people who have never touched a kiln. And yet, even in celebration, the city reminds you of your place. Some slaves are forced to serve wine. Others clean the mess left behind. But in the distance, above the stage, the actors speak lines that feel like they might belong to you. I am but a shadow, a whisper of what might have been. You do not understand every word, but the sound echoes in your chest. You wonder, if even kings in these places suffer and fall, what does that mean for you? And so the days pass, one into the next. You are not free, but you endure. Is that survival? Or something less? You are transferred, not sold, just reassigned. Your master's cousin, a merchant who imports Egyptian linen, requires help. You are taken from the ergasterion, the workshop, and brought into a household. For a moment, you think this might be better. There are walls now, curtains, the sound of lyres drifting from an upper chamber. You will learn that comfort does not always mean kindness. The oikos, the center of private life. The house, or oikos, is a long, narrow structure centered around a shaded courtyard. Everything happens here, the weaving, the cooking, the gossip. It is quiet in the morning. Light streams in from the atrium above. Olive trees rustle gently. You do not enter through the front door. Slaves use the side. Always. The merchant's wife is named Callisto. She never looks you in the eyes. She speaks to you in short commands: water, sweep, stir. You quickly learn the rhythm of the household. The son, 12 years old, throws figs at you when he is bored. The daughter watches you silently from the stair. Your sleeping mat is rolled behind the kitchen. It smells of garlic, smoke, and salt. You miss the kiln. You miss the clay, but you do not say so. Here, your labor is softer but more personal. You carry chamber pots. You massage feet. You polish silver. You heat oil for the merchant's bath. You are required to be invisible but also always watching. Relationships and unseen intimacies. In the kitchen, you meet Thelxino, another household slave, older than you. She was born here, the daughter of a slave woman. She knows every corner of this house and everyone's secrets. She teaches you how to boil lentils without smoke, how to hide crumbs in your tunic, how to smile without smiling. You ask if she dreams of freedom. She shrugs. I dream of sleeping through the night. There are whispered rumors of the merchant taking slaves to his bed. Thelxino avoids his gaze. You learn to do the same. And yet, sometimes a strange affection appears. The little girl, Melita, once hides a dried fig in your pocket. You find it while folding linens. You don't eat it. You keep it. religious duties, and the gods of the house. In the corner of the courtyard stands a small altar to Hestia, goddess of the hearth. Every morning, before the house stirs, you light the lamp. You press olive oil into the bowl. You whisper the prayer, though you're not sure it's for you. Slaves are part of the household religion, though not as equals. You are expected to know the rituals, to prepare the garlands, to fetch the wine for libations. You help dress the mistress for the Thesmophoria festival, a secret women's ceremony, but you are not allowed to attend. You watch from the window as they leave, dressed in white, carrying baskets of sacred offerings. They do not look back. Discipline, fear, and the quiet power of obedience. There are no outbursts in this house. Punishments are subtle, almost polite. A missed chore means no food. A broken dish means a silent, prolonged stare from the mistress, followed by days of extra labor. One night, a servant boy spills oil near the merchant's sandals. He says nothing at first, but the next day the boy is gone, sent back to the agora, replaced. You realize how easily you too can vanish. Some slaves escape. It's rare, risky. Athens is a city of watchers, and if caught, the punishment is severe. Branding, beatings, death sometimes. Still, you imagine it. You imagine walking beyond the long walls to Piraeus, hiding on a merchant ship, sailing far from marble columns and painted gods. But you never try. Voices in the shadows, philosophy, politics, and you. Once a week, your master hosts guests. They talk for hours about logos, demos, and errate logic, democracy, virtue. You pour their wine and refill their olives. You are not addressed, but you listen. One evening, a man with thinning hair and a calm voice, Isocrates, perhaps says, "Even slaves have souls. We must consider this if we speak of justice." There is silence, then laughter. Your master says if they have souls, they must be very small. You say nothing, but that night, your hand tightens around the broom handle just a little longer than usual. Glimpses of freedom and the price of it. One day, a stranger visits the house. He is dark-skinned, tall, with a silver ring on his finger, a freedman. Once a slave, now a linen trader. He speaks with confidence, bows to no one. He gives orders to your master. You cannot stop staring. Later, Thelxino whispers that he bought his freedom after 15 years in the port. He lives in the Meta Quarter now. Still pays tax. Still no citizen. But he walks on his own feet. You wonder, how many lamps would you need to craft to earn your freedom? Too many. A quiet rebellion. You begin to write. Not publicly, that would be unthinkable. But on discarded potsherds using soot and a pointed stick. You copy the words you hear from the philosophers. You carve names: Socrates, Pericles, Arete, Dyke. You do not know what they all mean yet, but it feels like something. Like ownership of thought. A secret rebellion. Thelxino catches you once. She says nothing. But the next morning, you find more shards left by your mat. And so your life continues, not as tragedy or triumph, but as shadow and echo. In the house of democracy, you live without voice. But within you, something speaks. Would you like to continue to Section 3, Life in the Athenian Courts and the Possibility of Freedom? The courtyard is unusually quiet this morning. You rise early, as always, and light the household lamp. But the merchant is already gone. Callisto is pacing. She gives orders sharply. Something is wrong. Word spreads through whispers your master has been summoned to court. The Athenian courts, a theater of words. Athens prides itself on its democracy. Its people are proud of the ecclesia, the assembly, and of the courts where men argue over property, theft, betrayal, and honor. But not all people are welcome there. Slaves may not testify in court unless tortured. Yes, tortured. This is called Basanos, and it is thought to reveal the truth, since slaves are assumed to lie for their masters. No citizen would trust the word of a slave on its own. But under pain, your body becomes honest. You wonder, is pain really truth? A case of betrayal. Your master returns pale and quiet. It seems another household across the street has accused him of stealing a shipment of dye from the port, a contract gone missing. The merchant claims innocence, but in Athens, accusations are performances. Truth is just one of the actors. The document, it turns out, was delivered to your master's house by a slave. One of you. Thelxino looks at you. You both know no one remembers who received it. No one dares say. You keep your head down for days. Fear of the tortured testimony. Rumors swirl that the accusing house may demand Basanos. Someone in your house, maybe you, might be called to testify. You have seen what this means. The straps, the fire, the rods. You imagine your hands bound behind your back, forced to confess to something you don't understand just to stop the pain. But then the matter resolves. Quietly, privately, as so many matters do in Athens. The merchant makes a deal. Money changes hands. The accusation disappears. And life continues. The hidden world of freed slaves. You begin to notice them more now, the apolutheroi, the freedmen. They live in the meta-quarters, outsiders, residents, not citizens. They work as barbers, traders, musicians, scribes. Some live better than poor citizens. Some vanish in debt. A few even own slaves themselves. There's irony in that, but no surprise. Athens is a city built on contradictions, a democracy sustained by servitude. You wonder what freedom looks like for someone like you. What would it mean? Would you wear a ring? Own a shop? Choose where to sleep? Would you still look over your shoulder every time someone shouted? Paths to freedom, rare but real. Freedom for slaves is possible but rare. It must be granted, bought, or earned through some exceptional service. You know a kitchen slave who once saved his master's son from a horse accident. The father freed him in gratitude. The boy, now grown, still avoids the man's eyes. Another slave you heard about sang beautifully. She was purchased by a musician and later freed to perform. She now sings at private parties. They still call her former slave as though freedom were just a different form of service. Sometimes slaves pull coins and buy their own liberty. A legal manumission, but only if the master allows it. You know you won't be one of the lucky few. Still, sometimes in dreams you imagine it. Whispers of resistance. In the alleys between houses, at the back of the market stalls, slaves whisper. Some plot escape. Some imagine rebellion. Most just complain quietly and return to work. But stories spread. A slave who ran to the hills and became a bandit. A girl who poisoned her mistress's wine with herbs. A boy who vanished into the theater crowd, became an actor, wore the mask of a free man. You know most of these tales are false. You also know that doesn't matter. They give shape to hope. The festival of Dionysia. Then, one spring evening, you are taken to the theater. Not as a guest, of course, to carry a seat cushion for the merchant's wife. But you stand at the back, and you watch. A play unfolds, a tragedy. A king brought low by pride. A chorus of masked women. The gods watching silently above. The crowd murmurs, gasps, applauds. You see tears in the eyes of men who would never cry at home. And for a moment, in the flicker of torchlight and the rhythm of verse, you feel something impossible, that your pain has meaning. That your silence is part of the story. And so the story continues, one day, one duty, one memory at a time. In the heart of a city that speaks of freedom, you live in the quiet margins, dreaming not of glory, but simply of choice. Would you like to continue to Section 4, the end of service, death, memory, and legacy for an Athenian slave? The olive trees are dropping their fruit now. The days grow shorter. Callisto wears darker robes. A young boy in the household has died. The merchant's nephew. He fell from the garden wall. The family is grieving loudly, publicly. You help prepare the morning food. And you wonder quietly, when your time comes, will anyone grieve for you? What happens when a slave dies? There are no state funerals for slaves. No carved marble graves, no parades, no ceremonies of honor. If you are lucky, your body may be buried in a pauper's field outside the city. Perhaps near a potter's kiln or under an olive tree where the land is dry and nobody builds. If your master is kind or if you served the household a long time, you may be buried near their family tomb, but not in it. You are not kin, not even in death. The funeral fires you cannot share. In Athens, free citizens are cremated with rituals. Women wail, men cut their hair short in mourning, and urns are placed in tombs with gifts for the dead's journey. You've prepared these rites many times, bringing oil jars, arranging sprigs of laurel, laying out the shroud. You've touched the urns, never imagining one would hold you. But your future likely lies in something quieter, a shallow grave, an unnamed stone, and silence. Sometimes in the night, you imagine a friend leaving a stone for you. Just one. That would be enough. Do slaves leave wills? Some do. Rarely, a master may permit an older slave, especially one with savings, to leave instructions. These may include a request to free a spouse or leave coins to a child born in another household. Legally, the will means nothing, but sometimes sentiment wins over law. There is a slave you knew, an old man with one blind eye who worked as a household steward. When he died, the merchant he served had a small gravestone carved. It read only, "To Xanthos. He served well." That was enough to make people stop and read, even if just for a moment. The ghosts of the unnamed. In Athenian belief, unburied souls wander. They become ataphoi, the unburied ones. They drift near the river Styx, unable to cross. You sometimes fear that fate more than death itself. Not pain, not hunger, but being forgotten. You think about the others, the girl from Lydia who sang while she worked, the boy who vanished into the market, the man who told stories in the kitchen before bed. Where are their names? Where are they? Can you leave a legacy without a name? You notice that some things, small things, last. The broom you repaired still leans behind the door. The cracked water jug you patched holds lemons in the storeroom. You once taught the merchant's son a lullaby from your childhood. He still hums it. No one remembers where he learned it, but you do. Relief from work in old age. Some slaves, when aged or sick, are given less work, especially if they have been loyal or served for decades. You've seen old slaves shuffle to the back rooms, tending coals, feeding chickens, watching younger ones take their place. Their hands still tremble when the master enters the room, but their gaze is distant as if already elsewhere. You wonder what stories they hold that no one asked to hear. Do masters mourn their slaves? Occasionally, there are records of Athenians who wept for a beloved slave. Some even wrote simple epitaphs or paid for proper burial. But most simply move on. Slaves are replaceable. In a merchant's household, your memory fades before the oil in the lamp runs out. Dreams of the river. Some nights, when sleep comes slowly, you imagine the river Styx. You are not afraid. You imagine it quiet, cool, lined with reeds. You sit beside it and listen to frogs. You are not in chains. You are not carrying firewood. You are simply there. And in this dream, someone places a coin in your hand. Not gold, just copper. Enough to pay the ferryman. Enough to be remembered. A small mercy. On your final day, many years from now, the youngest daughter of the household, now a grown woman, will find your body near the herb garden. She will remember that you used to tuck wild thyme into her sandals when she was little. She will bury you near the lemon tree. She will not tell anyone, but every spring she will water the roots. And one day, someone will wonder why that tree blooms early and carries the scent of thyme. That is your legacy. Not a statue, not a name in marble, but a moment.